Good to see you.
You
Just really
too.
quickly,
Yes,
what up?
it's been a while, man. It's been a while. I'm excited to talk to you today. Obviously, I'm a huge Linkin Park fan. Obviously, I got my
Yeah, I can
hybrid
see
theory
that.
black back in the
That's
day, man.
awesome.
So I'm OG, been a supporter since day one. So how excited are you to be, back in everything Linkin Park, again here, it's rolling. You got the guys back together, and they got this date to look forward to at the 20th anniversary edition of Meteora.
Yeah, this package has been, I mean, we kind of, I think it must have been a year ago or so that we started looking at this, or a year and a half even, um, to figure out what do we have, uh, what's kind of in the hard drives or in the vault for Meteora that maybe people have never seen or heard before.
Sure.
Is there something cool that we could do to kind of celebrate that and give the fans something special or different for the 20th anniversary? And it's been a fun process, going through that. One of the things that I just think is it's kind of funny in retrospect is the fact that we found Lost. That
Yeah.
I don't mean that as a
Yeah. Right.
bad pun, but
Of course.
but yeah. So that we literally forgot that song had existed. We had recorded it with the album with everything else for Meteora. It got mixed and mastered. It kind of came through the entire process with everything else that made the record. But at the end of it, it just sat too close with a couple of the tracks that were on it. It was a little too similar. Um, so we kind of set it aside and said, this will be great to have and easy to use, either for like a, sometimes Japanese releases have to have
Right.
exclusive,
Extra
B
track. Yeah.
sides or tracks, or
Sure.
sometimes this radio station wants something special for a Christmas release, or
Sure.
maybe there's
Sure.
a TV show or movie. We're just kind of like, this is great. Like we felt like we're ahead of the game having this track done and
Yeah.
like ready to go, and then never used it. And so 20 years later, we're kind of looking at stuff, and I think Shinoda found it on one of the main hard drives and went to management and said, "Hey, did we ever use this song anywhere?" And they're like, "No, like what song?" They didn't even know what we're talking about.
Wow.
Like, oh crap, we got this track that nobody's ever
Yeah.
really heard, and it could have been, or maybe should have been on the record, and it's ready to go. So
That's exciting. I mean, I almost kind of find it hard to believe because you're all smart dudes. Don't get me wrong. You're smart dudes. So how do you
yeah,
forget about something so good? And yet there's more to come. I mean, there's more beyond Lost, which we're playing right now. And I love hearing on the air. I love saying new rock from Linkin Park. It
yeah.
feels so good to say it again. But anyways, but there's more to come.
Yeah, so there's always, I mean, we did know that there's always stuff obviously that doesn't get used
Yeah.
on a record. And a lot of that like is the fans are super aware of that when it comes to like fan club CDs we've released in the past where it'll just be, here is whatever, here is in the end, but the first version of it before it was,
Sure. Sure.
on the album, or here is
Right.
whatever.
Yep.
Here's a song that didn't make the album that doesn't have vocals, or here all these different types of songs in different forms or in different stages. So that's what we were kind of looking for and looking at when we went back into like mine the stuff is what's in there. And it wasn't that like it was just this song in a couple of them in that regard. Um, that it's almost just like we didn't forget the song, we just forgot we didn't ever really use.
I think your video froze up a little bit there. We're gonna have to edit this. And how you there? Are you back, Phoenix? All right, there we
Yeah,
go.
so I'm having like internet problems apparently. That's a lot of fun.
All right,
Where did I lose you?
We'll edit. Now it's been a minute, so you might have been rambling for a second, my friend.
Yeah, I'm just sitting here
Sorry about
talking to
that.
myself.
Well,
No,
here's
I
what
think
I
it's
am curious about though. Was it all hands on deck? Did you get all the guys together to dig in this vault together? So everyone had a voice and everyone had, oh, remember this, remember this. You're all coming up with ideas. I mean, 20 years. That's it's hard to remember all that stuff. So
yeah, there's a lot of different ways that kind of like comes together, and definitely everybody's involved to different degrees
yeah,
in the different levels in that regard. But all five guys, yeah, have had input and excitement on the package and on the product, and um, it's been a cool process in that regard to create this thing. I can't like to be, I can't believe it's been a 20 years.
Yeah.
That seems so crazy to me that it's been that long. That's
I
like a,
remember when you guys came in Minneapolis before the record came out. You came in, rented a studio in downtown Minneapolis, and a handful of us at the radio station went to the studio to hang out with you guys, and you played us the whole record. And we sat in the studio
yeah,
with you. It was this beautiful place. And so I got to hear it before, obviously, it was on sale and the world consumed Meteora. So that was a pretty rad experience that I hold on to, and then
that's
blew
so
up.
fun.
Yeah, yeah, and as massive as it is today. Do you, when you're putting this thing together and you're looking through some of those old pictures, do you just start laughing, or do you maybe even cry because you're thinking about, man, I miss those good times? Or what was that like? Was it really cathartic almost going through that the old photographs that'll be inside the deluxe box set?
Yeah, it's a little bit of everything for
Sure.
me in that regard. One of the things that I think is like was maybe the most surprising is, my oldest daughter is 15. I got a 15, 14, and 11-year-old daughters. And so some of the content, like the behind the scenes content that's on this package, we watched that just kind of, to make sure to approve it, in
Sure,
a sense, make
sure.
sure
It's
there's
appropriate. Yeah, of
nothing
course.
crazy.
Yeah,
Um, so we watched that at the house, and they there's so much of that they've obviously never seen before, and they don't have a direct contact with, because it, you know, for one of them it's 5 years before they were born. For another one, it's almost 10 years before they were born. But
sure.
they're making fun of like what we're wearing, and they're making fun of like,
The
the
hair and
the
yeah, all
bad
that.
jokes and like the sense of
Sure.
humor, yeah, and the hair, and just kind of like, what are you doing?
That's
And
great.
for me, it's so funny just to see us kind of still in that space, because when we were touring with Meteora, Hybrid Theory had obviously had been a massive success and a huge album, and um, but at the same time, we hadn't really even had a chance or enough time to grow up or change any more
Sure.
than what we were doing. We're kind of still in the same space, like living in a bus with a bunch of dudes and just playing shows and
Of
like
course.
eating McDonald's and
Right.
whatever, right? Like
Right.
just kind of grinding it out that way. So
You're
that
saying you
was,
you miss those days. You miss those days of grinding things out.
I don't, I'm,
Yeah.
I think I'm in touch enough to know that I would never be able to do it how we did
Mm,
it,
sure. Of
but I do miss how much fun it was, and I do miss just that excitement of having, you
course.
know, I'd played music since I was 5 or 6 years old. I'd never been almost crazy enough to believe it could be a job. I always just played because I loved it.
Didn't
I
you say,
started
I think you
classically
told me,
trained.
yeah, I was going to say didn't violin,
Yeah,
correct?
like classically trained on violin
That's
to
right. Yeah.
start, and it was just always something I really, really enjoyed and loved. So to be in that space where you're like, wait a minute, like this is a job, like you
Yeah.
can do this.
Sure.
That was that time period of my life, and it was awesome.
So besides the music, what else would you say inside the box set that fans, and obviously the Linkin Park fan base is awesome, is awesome. It's a massive family that loves you guys. And what's something that they're gonna get in this box set that you think they're gonna be the most surprised about, that you think they're really gonna gravitate towards, that everyone's gonna be talking about?
Yeah, I think, well, I know for even in the band, there's different things amongst, the five of us that we gravitate towards, or the most interested or excited about in different spaces. And I think that that's probably pretty common amongst, the fan base.
Sure.
Some people will really like seeing like the expanded artwork and all the different aspects of that
Yeah.
went into making the visual component of the record.
Right.
Some people won't care about that at all, and will be more like, I want to hear what
The
the
music.
process sounds like, of
Sure.
songs
Oh,
in different forms, or things that didn't make the record, or songs that I have never heard before. And there's like tons of that. And then, a lot of people want to see content and see the visual aspects. One thing that's really cool about this package, and about being able to give over this much stuff all at once, is you can see from live footage of concerts the kind of the progression of what we did with the set list, and how like the shows grew from the
sure.
beginning of the cycle to the end. I think there's three different live shows that are captured, that are all at different stages, in different size venues, and at different, almost like, levels of how we were presenting the album and presenting our live show. And so it's very easy to see in that 2-year period that's covered, a lot of the changes that the band kind of went through, and how we're presenting our music in a live setting. So
Sure.
I don't know. There's so much stuff in there that I think there's like, for anyone with any interest, there's a little bit of something for everybody.
Yeah.
For
That's
those
exciting.
for those that love all that stuff, then Merry Christmas or whatever, because
Right.
there's
Yeah.
more
Happy birthday,
there's more
everything.
than you could ever maybe want. But
Sure, sure. That's great, man.
yeah,
That's
just
really exciting. My boss, he had mentioned this to me. He said, you got to ask him this. And it's hard for me to ask because I want to, I'm curious, but I don't know if is it touchy still to ask. Do you guys see yourselves getting together and working on new music and possibly hitting the road again? Is that a possibility? Is that an idea? Is it something you kicked around?
yeah, I mean it's definitely a fair question
Yeah.
in some sense. Even
Sure.
amongst us at times, it's kind of like, oh, the elephant in the room.
Right. Right.
Um, my my generic answer, I'll tell you the generic answer first, and then
Sure.
then
Sure.
because we're tight, I'll tell you the real answer.
Yeah.
The generic answer would be something to the sort of, um, I can't imagine us not doing something at some point, but
Yeah.
I don't know when that would be. That would be, the easiest way to put it. Um, but to expand upon that, like, all of us are at different spaces
Sure.
in kind of where we're at. We genuinely are still close friends. We all still communicate and talk once every week, if not every 2 weeks. The relationship is still there amongst the
That's great.
guys,
Sure.
but everybody's just at different paces of, or different places in life and different spots to, um, almost be able to tackle that challenge of what that even begins to look like, to do something as Linkin
Sure.
Park again. So it's gonna, there's no timeline. It's all just potential and open doors, but there's no plan at this point.
Okay. Okay. That works. It really does. I mean, it sounds like, there's a chance. That's, what I mean? At the end of the day,
So
that's,
you're
that's kind
telling
of what
me
I'm
there's
hearing.
a
There's a
chance?
chance. Exactly, man. And that's great. So thank you so much for your
Yeah,
time today, man. I'm really
I
excited
would
about
even,
this.
I'd
So
go as far as to say, like, I
yeah,
want to do, I want to play shows again at some point, and I want to do new music, whatever that sounds like or looks like. So,
how's your bass chops, dude? Do you still play quite a bit? I mean, you're out there
um,
teaching probably soccer or whatever it is with the girls,
yeah,
instead you're not playing as much.
I'm still as bad at bass as I've ever been.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Sure. Yeah, that's
no, I've
cool though.
actually, I've been like, since I was probably like 15 years old, I've always wanted to play drums, and it took me 25 years to actually start. So I've been playing drums for a little bit,
Oh,
and
really?
that's what I'm most terrible at, but most interested and excited
Having
about at the
fun with
moment.
that right now.
Yeah.
Dude, thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate it. I can't wait. So April 7th, the 20th anniversary edition of Meteora, it's out in a couple of different forms. I'm a vinyl guy, so I'm looking forward to the vinyl aspect of it, but the deluxe package looks rad. I'm excited that, again, I get to play a new song called Lost on the radio every day, and people love it. The reaction's fantastic. And again, to say new rock from Linkin Park it just feels right. So thanks
Yeah,
again for your time
I like
today,
the
dude.
sound of that too. That's
Yeah,
fun. Yeah, thank you for
absolutely.
everything.
Yeah, you got it, dude. Take care. And I hope to see you really soon.
Cheers. Thank you.
All right, brother. Bye.
Bye.